Today, CSIS and JETRO, the Japan External Trade Relations Organization, held our 7th symposium on U.S.-Japan relations and the integration of the economies of the Asia-Pacific region. And I'm joined by our distinguished panelists from Japan, from China, and from Singapore. Let me begin with Mr. Ishige, the chairman and CEO of JETRO, and ask you, sir, what do we do to advance trade liberalization in an era when the WTO seems stalled and there are so many different proposals in Asia? How can we best create economic growth with trade liberalization given this confused period we're in?
Yes. As you know, the WTO's Doha round has been stalled for such a long time. And I can say the WTO's, it's highly appreciated as a judicial body, or a monitoring body, but as a legislative body, WTO have not been able to function quite well. And because of so, we have to find the alternative way to the WTO to create the new trade and investment rules, because the world has changed dramatically since the establishment of the WTO. In spite of that, there hasn't been any material rules imposed in that area. So such a role should be played by, say, regional economic integrations like TPP or ASEAN Plus 3 or ASEAN Plus 6. And in those three major regional economic integration, recently ASEAN Plus 3 and Plus 6 are merged to the so-called RCEP. This is good. And so Japan is in a position to be able to belong to those fora. So we try to contribute to making rules of trade and investment, particularly with regard to TPP. TPP seems to achieve a high level standard of the trade liberalization. In spite of that, or because of so, the coverage of the countries participating in the TPP seem to be limited. That is not good. If TPP was to be the driving force towards making the trade and investment rules in the world, before that, of course, FTA would be the nearest target. So that point must be changed. That's what I want to emphasize at this moment.
So, Professor Urata from Waseda University, Japan announced under Prime Minister Noda interest in TPP. Mm-hmm. I think that generated a lot of expectation in the United States and elsewhere that Japan would step forward and play a major role, as we heard from Ishige-san. Japan's trade is only 18.7% of Japan's trade is covered by FTAs compared to over 35% mm-hmm. for Korea. So some people in Washington were a bit disappointed that when Prime Minister Noda came, nothing happened on TPP, because if Japan joins the Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership, it would transform it. It would make it huge, because mm-hmm. Japan is the third largest economy. So what can we expect from Japan's trade policy and trade strategy? Is Tokyo stuck, or will there be some movement?
I was also disappointed that Prime Minister Noda couldn't commit himself to joining TPP negotiations. And the reason behind that is, of course, a very strong opposition, mainly from agriculture sector in Japan. If we can convince those protectionists or opponents to joining TPP negotiations, mainly agriculture-related sector people, then Prime Minister Noda could have, of course, told President Obama that we are ready, Japan is ready to join the TPP negotiations. So unfortunately, I guess time was too short for Noda administration to convince these opponents that TPP will be a benefit for Japan. As you know, Noda government is faced with other problems such as consumption tax issue, social security, and for many observers and for many politicians, unfortunately, these issues come before the TPP issues. So hopefully, by summer this year, Prime Minister Noda could be in a position to make this decision on TPP, positive decision on joining TPP negotiations.
Of course, on the U.S. side, we had our own question
Yes.
in the summit. We have an election coming, and it's a sensitive time to formally tell the Congress that Japan, the third largest economy, will join TPP. So it wasn't so easy timing for the White House either. Do you think TPP participation by Japan is a matter of if or a matter of when?
Well, it's a must as far as I'm concerned. Japan is faced with many problems, structural problems, aging, declining population, increasing huge government debt, and so on. And of course, in addition to these structural problems, we still have to face with a problem caused by a disaster last year. And in order for Japan to achieve economic growth, in order for Japanese people to enjoy better living standard, we need economic growth. But under these circumstances, under so many challenges, what we can do to achieve economic growth is to open up our economy, to undertake structural reforms, and for that, joining TPP or joining RCEP could be a very effective and very important strategy. So in my view, if Japan cannot join any one of these regional agreements, our future will be very pessimistic. So that's why I think Japan has to join these arrangements.
Let me ask our colleague, Professor Zhang from the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. In China, TPP seems to be viewed with a great deal of suspicion. In the participating countries, it's mostly discussed in terms of trade liberalization and growth. In China, the TPP discussion seems to focus more on geostrategic issues, concerns about containment. Is there a way to have multiple trade negotiations in Asia without creating mistrust? Is there a way to have a kind of win-win philosophy on these different trade agreements?
Yes, it's true that in China, a lot of Chinese scholars are very skeptical of the intentions behind the TPP initiative. Some of them think about TPP from an economic point of view. They think that TPP will undermine or at least hurt China's competitiveness. For example, with the high level rules, high level standards, China's labor force cost will increase if China play by the rule of labor welfare, or China abide by the environmental protection. So the cost, the production cost will increase dramatically. Others think about TPP from a geopolitical point of view. They think that the United States, maybe other countries, try to use TPP as an instrument to block China's rise. It's a debating point. There are still other scholars who do not agree with this group of people. They prefer to take TPP as a chance, as an opportunity for China to upgrade upgrade China's production level, or moving up the ladder of a production a ladder. I am something Yeah, I am a little bit, confusing, which side I will be on. But it's a fact that, China is facing a sort of challenge posed by TPP. As you mentioned, that I think there are some win-win solution for China. That is, make the TPP and FTA in East Asia, compatible with one another. I think China can, benefit from both TPP and FTA with our neighbors like Japan and Korea, and minimize the cost.
Professor Lim, the U.S.-Singapore Free Trade Agreement is a high-quality FTA,
yes,
a gold standard.
Right.
And so is the U.S.-Korea FTA, U.S.-Australia. And U.S. businesses really are only interested in high-quality FTAs that lower the barriers to trade, that reduce tariffs, that deal with behind-the-border issues. And that's the kind of FTA that the Congress will expect the U.S. to negotiate with the
right.
TPP member countries. On the other hand, these are diverse countries at different levels of development, and there's an important element of inclusion as well. How do you strike the right balance between maintaining high quality but being inclusive and representing diversity in the member states?
Well, we have to look at the multilateral trading system like the WTO, where there is a special and differential treatment to developing member countries. So therefore the United States, as leading the prime drivers of the TPP negotiation now, has to find flexible and approach in dealing with the so diversified states of developments of the TPP member countries. And secondly, also because the ASEAN centrality, the ASEAN track of the ASEAN plus FTA seems to be at this stage diverging instead of converging. Thirdly, therefore, as a result of that, as normally called the Asian track, the ASEAN plus, or sometimes referred to as the regional comprehensive.
So this would be ASEAN, China, ASEAN, Japan, ASEAN,
yes,
Japan,
yes,
Korea,
yes.
China, ASEAN plus some
Correct.
states within
ASEAN
East Asia.
Plus, yes.
Yeah.
So, so many in East Asia, especially in Southeast Asia, but specifically Indonesia, for example, large countries, is not interested in the TPP. For that respect, also, I think China has that a lot of perceptions that it is targeted to certain countries. Therefore, flexibilities, the speed of adjustment, the comprehensiveness of countries joining the TPP negotiation has to be considered. Just like the multilateral WTO system of special and differential treatment.
Well, thank you all. These were excellent points. It was an excellent discussion today. I would conclude by saying that I think our discussions in these JETRO CSIS seminars are invaluable in reminding us that even though there's competition, it's a virtuous competition. Competitive trade liberalization in the end is more likely to end up with barriers to trade removed and trust increased. But it's not automatic. It's not necessarily the case, so we need to keep having these dialogues to keep all of us urging our governments to move in the right direction. So thank you all very much.